the Library of Congress Veterans Committee is made by an RCA Pro Edit camera, and the interviewer is Jack W. Boone, B-O-O-N-E, from the Marietta Golden K Kiwanis Club in Marietta, Georgia. All right, would you tell us your name, please?
Harry Lassiter.
What was your branch of service, Harry?
U.S. Navy.
And the dates that you were in the service?
I enlisted in the service 1/11/44, and I was discharged in 4/21/46.
What was your serial number?
Serial number 6906046.
What was the highest rank you attained while you were in the service?
Seaman First Class.
What was the name of your outfit?
I was in the amphibious force on LCT 1327.
Where did you serve?
I served in the South Pacific, around the Stringer Bay area, Philippines, and Hollandia, Morotai, Atapi, and Borneo.
Did you leave when you left the States? Did you go across in your the same ship?
No, sir, I was on another ship, a APA, John Henry Pope.
And you went from there to the South Pacific and joined?
To Stringer Bay.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us the story of when you of your basic training.
I had boot training at Great Lakes, Illinois. And being a southern boy, that was rather a cold place. And I remember when we left out Atlanta on the train, coming into Chicago, I only had a sweater on. I almost froze to death time the taxi got there to carry us over to the electric train to go to Great Lakes.
Did you get your clothes right away to be able to get warm?
I sure was looking for that big pea coat and finally got it, and it sure did feel good.
Okay, after you arrived, what happened then?
We, of course, were assigned our rooms, and our petty officer, Chief Johnson, he kind of give us instructions on where and what to do, and we assembled in a couple of days and began our training there at Great Lakes.
You had been living in Marietta, Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
And so you were used to the weather in the South.
Right.
And this was a radical change for you.
Sure was, and you know, they say when the cold weather comes, your blood has to get adjusted to that. So it took me a while, but I adjusted to the Great Lakes cold weather in January, you know.
Harry, why did you select the branch of service that you were in?
Well, I liked the Navy, I liked the water, and I sure didn't want to get in the Army. I thought about digging those foxholes, and I didn't know where I could dig one fast enough. And
What did it feel like when you made the transition from civilian life to military?
Well, it was rather sudden, and being an old farm boy, you know, I hadn't really got out of Georgia. I think we did make one trip to Chattanooga, Tennessee, and it was quite of a different life in the service and being on the farm.
And going through boot camp, did you get through it okay with no trouble?
Yes, we had a good officer, commanding officer. Chief Johnson, he had to go in another, they needed him in another area, so he left us and of all things, our Roy Hartsfield, a baseball player here from Georgia, he played with Atlanta Crackers. He became our officer and instructor there in Great Lakes.
Did he go with you overseas?
No, he went into another area.
After what port did you leave from in the United States?
We left from San Francisco, Treasure Island, Treasure Island.
And then where was your first stop?
We stopped at Stringer Bay in the South Pacific.
Is that an island or?
That's an island. We stayed there until our ship arrived. Our ship, little LCT, and bringing those over to the South Pacific, they brought those over on an LST on the top deck. And bringing those over, when they arrived, they listed the ship, and little LCT slid right off in the ocean.
How long was an LCT?
It was about 150 foot long.
So it was a seaworthy vessel.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember how many people roughly were in the crew?
About 18 and 2 officers. We had a lieutenant and a Lieutenant JG.
What was your assignment?
My assignment was a deck, and we had a little, the ramp, lowering the ramp, we had a little gasoline engine there, and my job was to lower and raise the ramp, and also to, sometimes we took cables out on the beach. We had the surf was so high, we had to take cables out and hook them on to Caterpillar tractors to hold us on the beach.
Did you take the tractors with you?
No, they were already there.
Okay.
That happened on island of Topi in the South Pacific.
Did you see combat?
Yes.
Where?
We, Bellicapap in Borneo. We made an invasion there. We had about 500 ships on in our convoy. And interesting thing happened. We had a shakedown cruise for this invasion, and one LCT that was supposed to go on this invasion, they developed engine trouble on the shakedown cruise. So coming back, we were leaving a couple of days, and we flipped a coin with another little LCT like mine, and we won the toss of the coin, and we got to go on this invasion in order to get our star, our battle star.
Were there any casualties in your unit?
No, sir, no casualties. We was mighty fortunate.
Tell me about a couple of the experiences that you had during and immediately after the invasion.
Well, we had the opportunity to witness the signing of the peace treaty out from Borneo. Well, as I remember, it was on a battleship, and we were in that area to witness this signing of the peace treaty.
Were you ever a prisoner of war?
No, sir.
Okay. Could you tell us anything else that happened there in the South Pacific before you came home?
There in the after we made the invasion, and then of course we came back. We were in that same area, and we worked. We had the point system going, and you would come home according to how many points you had, and I finally worked up to get to come back home, and that sure was a happy time to be able to come back and see the family.
Did you come back directly to Marietta?
Yes, I came back in at San Diego, Port of San Diego, Naval Base. We came back in on a troop ship, and that sure was a happy time to be able to come back to the United States.
Looking back at your service your term in the service, did you have adequate supplies?
Well, we were kind of short of supplies over in the Pacific. Our little ship only had a refrigerator, like a home refrigerator, resident refrigerator, which was kind of small, and we had 18 men and servicemen and 2 officers, so as you can see, that was kind of inadequate for our size ship.
What was the food like?
Well, the food was kind of not like we were used to here in the United States. We had powdered potatoes, powdered egg, and powdered milk, which you didn't acquire a very good taste for, but we made out.
Did you feel any pressures or stress?
Most of the time we entertained ourselves, and we had a good group of men, and the weather was always kind of a little bit warm, but we managed to have our own uniform. Being on a little LCT, we didn't have to be in uniform, so we made out pretty good.
Did you do anything special for good luck?
No, we just we had some. We were a very, very small ship, and we was kind of like a big family, so we counted on each other to make things go good.
So you pretty well had to entertain yourselves.
Yes, we like say we were kind of a big family, and we entertained ourselves.
Did you see any entertainers over there?
No, our island there, we didn't have any. Bob Hope, he only went to those large islands, and we didn't get to see Bob and his crew.
Harry, tell us about the entertainers that you saw during the war.
In our area, we didn't have any entertainers like Bob Hope. He didn't make it over to our island, but we did have some. Occasionally, we got in some beverages, and we would go to a little garden, and we'd have us a few cool ones and have a little fellowship. Then we'd come back to the ship.
Where did you travel while you were in the service?
We traveled, Great Lakes, Illinois, and then we went over to Texas for a while, and then back up to Solomon's Island, Maryland. That's where I did my training for the LCT, which is about 6 weeks training. We had an unusual thing happen in the bay. We were out to maneuvers, on night maneuvers, in the Chesapeake Bay, and we were under blackout, and all of a sudden I heard the engines, big engines roaring, and it seemed like the ship was backing down, a big Liberty ship, and they almost collided with us. We almost had a collision, and thank goodness the skipper on the big Liberty ship saw us, and he backed the engines down and averted collision with us. That sure, we had our scare on that deal. But we finished up in Solomon's Island, Maryland, then we went over to San Francisco to ship overseas.
What did you think of your officers and fellow sailors?
Oh, we all had a good time. We had good officers there. We had two on our little ship, and we just like I said before, you know, we was like a big family.
Do you keep in touch with any of them today?
No, that's something that I wanted to do. I was in touch with a couple of them several years ago, but I lost contact.
Tell us what you do you recall the date that your service ended when you got home?
That was in April the 21st in 1946.
What did you do after the service?
I came home, and my brother, he'd been in service, and we wanted to start a little business, so we started a service station on my grandfather, some of his property out by the Big Chicken here in Marietta. So we were in business together before I started to pharmacy school later on.
And you graduate from pharmacy school?
Yes, I graduated from Southern College of Pharmacy. Under the GI Bill of Rights, I was able to obtain 4 years college, which I was interested in pharmacy. I had a friend, Howard Atherton, who was our mayor here, Mayor Howard Atherton. And then going to high school, we'd come and be at his father's business here on the square in Marietta, and I sure would like to be a pharmacist and someday have a drugstore, which I had.
How long were you in the drug business?
About 21 years.
And you sold out and retired?
I sold out. I developed Hong Kong flu and later developed bronchial asthma, and I had to sell my business, and I moved out to Tucson, Arizona for health reasons. And I was able to get some good medication and was able to get my asthma and bronchitis under control.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Well, I had a first-hand experience, you know, on war, and we were successful with Japan and Germany. We were able to. Of course, the atomic bomb played a big part in that, and I sure was glad to be in the area when the Japanese surrendered and peace was.
Do you belong to any veterans organizations now?
I belong to the American Legion.
And do you attend any reunions?
No, sir. I wanted to try to go to a reunion over in New Orleans, and maybe someday I can go with the Higgins family over there, build a big museum for the veterans, and they supplied the Higgins ships. They built my LCT, and I want to go over and be a part of that.
Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Well, I had two brothers that were in the service. One was in the Army and the paratroopers, and one was in the Navy. And we had three of our family members in the service, and I was happy that I was contributed to the World War II, and I was also thankful to get my GI Bill of Rights and be able to have 4 years of college and later be in business. And my family was appreciative of us being in the military and helping out in World War II, and also getting help from service for education. My two brothers have since passed away, and their families, we get together now, and we have this Marietta Camp meeting, and we have a cabin there, and my mother built that cabin in order for her grandchildren and to be able to attend religious services, and it's been a great thing for us to keep together over the years and have fellowship.
Thank you, Harry Lassiter, for your interview and for your service